travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Now, you may recall a few weeks ago we received a message from a listener about living in Papua New Guinea. And at the time I said, that's a story I want to hear. And thankfully, that listener did reach out to us. And just before I went on leave, I was able to sit down via Zoom and chat to Cara and Dorian Borcherds, who are Capetonians who own a diving business in New Ireland province, which is located on one of the outer islands of the Bismarck Archipelago. We're talking here about the easternmost side of Papua New Guinea. And for those who don't quite know where Papua New Guinea is, we're talking about the eastern half of the island of New Guinea, which Indonesia claims the other side, if I can put it that way. So it's in Asia, it's in a fairly inaccessible part of the world, but boy, it sounds like it's really worth the effort to get there. Cara and Dorian are both keen divers who actually met in Mozambique, later moved to the Solomon Islands, and when I chatted to them, I started by asking Dorian what made them move on to Papua New Guinea. Let's take a listen.
We got here from the Solomons, where we'd been looking at setting up our business there, and we loved it there. But we got here and there's like, wow, there's a tar airstrip. There's supermarkets with stuff in, instead of actually standing behind a counter and pointing to stuff and sort of saying, yeah, I want that one, you know. So we got here and it was just so much more organized than where we were in the Solomons. So we thought, yep, this is it. And also the diving here was just absolutely fantastic. We loved it.
From what the little bit of reading I've done in preparation for this interview, it's fairly obvious that one of the biggest appealing factors about the diving there is that it's so uncluttered. It's not a big mainstream destination. You don't have dozens of divers on every site and every wreck, and you've got some really interesting historical wrecks to dive and the like. Dorian, tell us a little bit more about the diving itself in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah, well, you know, what's nice here, like you say, it's we're normally the only boats at a dive site, and there's no other divers in sight, you know, and which is really nice. So it's quite a good destination like that. And in the Second World War, there was quite heavy fighting here, that sort of thing. So we've got all sorts here. We've got from World War II stuff. We've got amazing marine life, both invertebrates and like fish life. It's in the Coral Triangle, so it's got, you know, the most diverse marine life in the world, really.
Wow. And the coral itself, I mean, Dorian, so many places in the world, the coral has been all but wiped out. Is it still in pretty good condition there?
Yeah, it's still in very good shape. You know, every now and then we'll get a slight sort of, like if it's like now, you get where the water doesn't move, like we have a whole lot of really still days, and like for a month at a time, and you'll notice slight touch of bleaching, but it goes away again. So we're very lucky like that.
And before we move away from the diving, I know from having read some news articles recently that you had a very unusual encounter with a jellyfish that may or may not be the first time it's ever been recorded. Tell us a bit more.
Well, yeah, I went diving on a dive site that we go to really often. It's like not even 10 minutes from here. And I noticed that I had one guest with me, and I noticed while we were diving, it was only him and myself out, and there were these jellyfish, and I thought, well, that's odd. I haven't seen those before. So I took a bit of video. I didn't pay too much attention to it. I took a bit of video when we were on our way down, and then coming back up the reef, I noticed them still around, and they were like, you know, they're sort of really unusual. And I thought, wow, I really need to like find out what these are. So I took a bit more video of them. And when I got back, I actually sort of mentioned it to Cara, and she downloaded a jellyfish app, and it wasn't on that. And I sent her pictures, and she actually did the contact us on the jellyfish app. And within sort of 15 minutes, there was a very excited scientist on the phone to us saying that they think it's something totally new, undescribed, and they wanted to know more. So it's gone from there.
Wow, what a story. Now, Cara, from what Dorian's just described, it's clear you do a lot of important support and backup for this business, even though you're now back in South Africa. But before you came back in South Africa, you built a life for yourselves there. You had a family there. Dorian's already referenced the fact that there is a decent airstrip, that there is some degree of infrastructure to go shopping. Tell us a little bit more about what it's like to live in Papua New Guinea, though.
Well, it is quite a remote destination. So you really, you're not close to any hospitals. You're not, I mean, we were about an hour and a half flight to the capital, Port Moresby, and then another 3 hours flight to Australia. So, I mean, it's, even though Dorian says there's a supermarket and an airstrip, it is a very, very remote place. So, I mean, one of the reasons why I came back to South Africa, there was no school for our daughter that she could continue her education beyond primary school. Right. And we live almost island style. We don't even have locks on our doors. We don't really have windows. We have fly screen. You have to be a bit careful of mosquitoes. We never had hot water showers. Even the resort where all our guests stay, Noosa Island Retreat, it's bungalows over the water. They have composting toilets, but it's incredible service. And they're very popular in the surf market. But we do their diving for them, and we work very well together.
Why do you think there aren't more people discovering Papua New Guinea as tourists? Is it because it is just so very remote? It's a long-haul destination for people to get to, or is there more to it than that?
It is a remote destination. There's only one airline, Air Niugini, which is the state carrier. It does take a while to get there, and it's not really it's not a mass destination, it's market. You know, it's really by word of mouth that people get to know about us. And we used to get mainly Australian tourists, but lately we're getting people from Europe and all over the world. It's a difficult place to get to. From South Africa, it's going to take you 2 days to get there, but it's certainly worth it.
Dorian, culturally, I mean, you're the one who's still living there as we speak. I think a lot of people have a vision of Papua New Guinea as jungles. They will probably think of stories of missionaries and cannibals hundreds of years ago, and that's about the sum total of what they know. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the country is like in terms of its natural history, its climate, and its culture?
Yep, it's actually a very diverse country. Well, just to start with the people here, there's over 800, I think there's last time they checked, there's about 840 different languages alone. And each language is a separate culture. So there's a lot of people that come here just to study languages. And like I say, these are languages, not just dialects. There's languages. And all you have to do is, like when you're flying here, like over the country, if you look out the plane window and you see just how rugged it is, you can understand how people sort of developed separately because it was just too difficult to get anywhere else. You know, like it's just really, really rugged country. There are a lot of jungles and that sort of thing. We're based on an island off the mainland, so it's a long, thin island called New Island. Just below us is New Britain, and there's just in our province there's 24 different languages alone. There's the highlands of Papua New Guinea, where I'm sure a lot of people would have seen pictures of highly painted and decorated local costumes and that sort of thing, which is absolutely fascinating. There's still very strong cultural connections here with the people, and they're tied to their land. Everyone is actually, when you speak to people, it's like where they're from. And even though they might be born in Port Moresby or anything, they'll say, "Oh yes, I'm a Sepik, or I'm an islander, or a Highlander." There's in the interior of the main island of Papua New Guinea, it gets really high there, and there's people that sort of, even though it's almost tropical, they walk around with jerseys and beanies on all day, just because of the altitude.
Right.
So it's very, really diverse.
In terms of visiting, if a South African is prepared to make the 2-day trip to get there, are visas required, Cara, or can you get one on arrival? What's the story?
For some nationalities, you can get on arrival. This is one thing that changes a lot. But so at the moment, they call it a ETA, which is an entry to travel authority, and it is available online. As a South African, you do have to get it prior to travel. Unfortunately, it does cost a little bit of money, like a lot of countries. So it's $50 at the moment. And if you were traveling, say you were traveling to dive with us, we would assist with that, or a travel agent would assist with that. We always recommend, if you are traveling to Papua New Guinea, to book your air flights through a travel agent, because if something does go wrong, they are going to assist you, because it can be a little bit tricky.
It sounds like it, yeah. And US dollars pricing on the visa, what currency would you expect to need in Papua New Guinea itself? Can you bring dollars with you, or do you need local currency?
So in Papua New Guinea, you can change your dollars, not really rands. The local currency is called kina. Our rates are in Australian dollars, but obviously if there were some South Africans that wanted to travel, we would do what we'd call one-talk rates. And in Papua New Guinea, we use a language called Pidgin English, which is almost like they call it like a Fanigalo, or like a Creole. So one-talk means one, W-A-N is one, and talk, T-O-K is talk. So you are a one-talk of ours. You are a South African. So a one-talk rate would be in rands. So if anybody wanted to travel to come and dive with us, or just to see the culture, birding is very popular. And as I said, surfing, they're welcome to contact us. And, we'll give a preferential rate in rands, so that it makes it a little bit easier for you to work out the cost. It isn't a cheap destination once you are there, but it's certainly worth it.
So the last thing to do then is to ask you to share some contact details with us, because I'm sure listening to this, at least the keen divers and surfers in the audience are going, this might be one to explore for our next holiday. Cara, if somebody does want to book through your business and come and explore that beautiful untouched scenery and the reefs, how do they make contact with you?
So they can access us through our website, which is www.scuba, which is scuba as in diving, and then Kavieng, KAVIENG.com. We've also got a Facebook page and a YouTube channel. So our emails are on there. You can just email us, and then we will advise you from there what the best way to travel, from South Africa. Or a lot of people travel to Singapore, and perhaps they do a trip to Thailand, or they spend a day or two in Singapore and then come on to us. Even though it's a difficult destination to get to, in the 25 years we've been there, we get a lot of return customers. It's like a place that they really want to return to, because it's such an experience, and they realize that they haven't experienced it all. Often we get return customers contacting us again and asking, how they can do another trip and what's the best time to travel. So it really is an attractive destination.
What is the best time to travel, as a matter of interest?
So we are tropical. We are 2 degrees south of the equator. So all year round, we have very good diving. We have 20 meters viz. For us, I'd say the best diving is in South African winter months. And then for the surf season is in our summer months. They get the swell from the Philippines. But you can dive all year round. You just get the monsoonal rains in your December, January, February months. And so that sometimes it can be a bit wet, but it's warm. It's sun rises at 6, sun sets at 6, and it's always warm. And the water is plus minus 28 to 30 degrees. So you can dive in a swimming costume.
Sounds pretty amazing, doesn't it? That was Dorian and Cara Borcherds of Kavieng Diving in Papua New Guinea, chatting to me about a fortnight ago via Zoom. Once again, if you're interested in looking up more about their business, or perhaps asking them to help you plan a trip, the website is Scuba Kavieng, spelled Kavieng, scubacavieng.com.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.